Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, SMAC analyst for Cognizant. That's Social Mobile Analytics and Cloud. And I'm here in San Ramon, California this week, and I have the privilege of spending time with Cognizant Mobility's Head of Advisory Services, Sahara Alexis. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin.
So, I have a question for you. You are traveling all over the United States talking with very large companies about some very interesting things, which is enterprise mobility.
Yes.
When you're out there talking to them day in and day out, what are the topics that really get you excited?
Well, it's this concept of we want to do mobility, we're doing it today, but how can we really leverage it? So the conversations that I'm having with executives across both the C-level suite as well as VPs of operation and marketing and things of that sort is this concept of thinking outside the box, really talking about the future state of mobility and where mobility can be a true enabler so that it allows them to do business differently.
So how have they matured? What do they start with? And at what point do they start having the opportunity to look toward the future?
Well, a lot of companies are just trying to get something on the board.
Okay.
Right? So you have the basic productivity apps like travel and expense. Have people have evolved to Salesforce automation, for example. Some people have done warehouse automation as well with mobility as an enabler. Once they get those things in place, really it's about bringing these executives or these stakeholders in the room and saying, if you had everything, what would you do? What would you think is possible? And getting them to start to think about that. But they had to get their eyes and hands and arms around this idea of mobility first.
I just did a recent study. As a matter of fact, this last month, I completed a study, and it said one of the biggest challenges out there was educating stakeholders on the possibilities of enterprise mobility. Are you finding similar things out in the field?
Yes, definitely. So a lot of people have different opinions of what mobility is and what the possibilities of mobility are, right? So one of the things that we are trying to do here at Cognizant is to enable the stakeholders to really talk about mobility in this largest sense and help it connect to the company's strategy of growth or being the first in customer service, the first in consumer goods, and owning the relationship with their customer, both internally as well as externally.
So, Sahara, you talk about integrated business processes a lot in the context of enterprise mobility. What do you mean by that?
Integrated business processes is instead of looking at certain processes that are siloed, for example, like approvals, it's like take it beyond that. What does approvals also take into consideration? It could be inventory, it could be purchasing, it could be sales orders, it could be a lot of different things. It's really do a cross-integrated value process and have that enabled by mobility. And embed the new technologies like augmented reality, so that you have relevant content in place at the time so people can make better informed decisions and have more insights.
So there's definitely a progression here, or a pyramid of need, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
And as they understand the basics, they start looking at what they can do that offers competitive advantages.
Yes.
And that could actually change business models and things like that as well.
Right, and create new revenue streams.
Absolutely. Sahara, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Kevin.